joined by Tony Rovira, Managing Director of Azure Minerals. Tony, thanks for your time.
Thanks, David. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's all about nickel, nickel, nickel in WA. What have been the highlights of the development of this emerging nickel project in the last 6-12 months?
Well, I think one of the greatest highlights is that the potential for this deposit, for this project, to have multiple deposits and in time multiple mines. I actually am a firm believer that the Andover project in itself will become a new nickel province with potentially a central processing facility and then multiple mines all feeding into that plant. And we actually have quite a few of these both deposits and prospects already outlined.
And how's the development of these prospects going and feeding into the bigger regional play?
Well, the drilling's ongoing, and we've got the drilling is continuing both in terms of general exploration drilling, but also resource definition drilling. We've completed drilling out the Andover deposit itself, and then we've got the maiden mineral resource that's been announced for that. But we also are now currently drilling out the nearby Ridgeline deposit, which looks like it's actually going to be a significantly higher grade than its next door neighbour at Andover, which is fantastic. Then we've got numerous other targets where we've either drilled and we've hit some nickel and we need to follow up there, or we've yet to drill but they also have some really great characteristics. So it's both an exploration drilling program but also a resource definition drilling program. And that's one pathway, and then the second pathway is the development story.
And the development story, talk us through that. For those who don't know how a nickel project or it turns into a mine, what are the steps you're going through to get yourself to that point?
Well, the development studies are the components that form either a scoping study or a feasibility study into the development of a mining and processing operation. And there are numerous components to that. Now, the first step is to develop a resource. And you define the resource and you know how much you've got in terms of tonnes and grade. Now we're also doing metallurgical test work, and that's nearly completed, and no red flags. It looks like we'll be able to produce very marketable nickel and copper concentrates for sale in the international market. We've got the mining studies are underway, and they should be finished in the next few weeks as well. And then there's other components like the processing facilities, the design of that, the tailings dams, and very importantly is the cultural and environmental studies that need to be done. So we've commenced our baseline environmental studies, which will probably take about the next year and a half to 2 years to complete. But also infrastructure, cultural, heritage, community, all of those components feed into the development study program, and all of those are underway at Andover as we speak.
So in some respects, the long lead stuff is underway because you guys are focused on where this could be from a production point of view.
Absolutely. We see this as a mine and a mining operation, and we just need to tick all those boxes along the way. And at this stage, we have seen nothing that indicates any sort of negative response or negative outcomes. Everything looks really positive. And so I'm actually very confident that Andover in time will become a significant nickel province or a nickel district in its own right, and it will be a mining and processing operation.
And the development of this project is against a very interesting backdrop with the supply and demand thematics of the nickel market.
Absolutely it is, and everyone is saying, the experts are out there are saying that we're going to need more and more nickel and copper going forward as we enter this electrification process and decarbonising of our operational footprint here on the planet. And there are only so many nickel deposits in the world, and I think that what we've got at Andover is going to be a significant contribution to those going forward. And you're right, and then the nickel price is strong, the demand is strong. There's some of those other geopolitical factors like the war between Russia and Ukraine, etc., and with Russia being one of the largest nickel producers in the world, and that seems to have been at least postponed or stopped for now. So all that indicates that there's going to be some real supply issues at the same time as there is a real increase in demand, and that's great for us.
And funding? Do you have the funding to deliver on the dreams?
Well, we certainly have that. We're well funded right at the moment. We're well funded to take us all the way down through the resource definition stage for the various deposits we're drilling, and also to be able to undertake and complete the initial development study, which is the scoping study, and move into the feasibility study process. But at some stage in the future, yes, we will need to look to raise additional funds to take us all the way through to the decision to mine. And that's something that we're very cognizant that we need to take into consideration. But at the moment, we're in a very strong position.
Sharp focus, exciting times ahead. The plan is there to be delivered on. Shareholders to follow and keep watching the news. Really looking forward to following the journey. Tony, thanks for your time.
Thanks, David. It's a pleasure.